Okay, you just stay
Okay.
tuned because we're on Bobby C. This is as Bobby C sees it. Anonymous Addiction Deprogramming Podcast on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. Guess who we got today? We have Molly and Matt. Molly, tell us how we hooked up. Just come right up and tell us, how did you find us? How did you find me? How did we connect?
I saw a video. I was searching for people that had left the AA program, um, deprogramming. I was searching on YouTube and I came across your video and I watched it and I was just like, oh my God, like I have to talk to this guy. He's like, I have to talk to him. And I like found you on Facebook and then messaged you in the middle of kind of going through a deprogramming process. Um, and you've been like so helpful, you know?
Let me ask you a question. How long ago did you actually leave AA? Kind of say, hey, I'm done with it.
I went in my early 20s and I left probably at 30, 31.
So how long ago did you leave?
I'm 44, so what, 12 years ago?
Okay, 12 years. And you're still, isn't that amazing that, like the subconscious, and we're still deprogramming from a lot of this crap that we were programmed in,
Hmm.
where we were indoctrinated into it. It's amazing. So great. It's beautiful. I'm so glad. And here's another thing, because Matt can touch base with this. I know he's really into it. Look, you put your attention and your care and your energy into searching. And this is what this whole thing's about. It's about search, research, and investigation. And that's what we've been doing. To find the truth, that's what we actually do. So you put your attention to it, and all this is hot, all this. I mean, look, we're here. It's just proof that whatever you put your attention to and your energy, wherever the energy goes, wherever your attention goes, the energy flows. Here we are. I
Hmm.
mean, it's this is like a living proof. It's an experiment, actually. It's an experiment in life, and it's living proof that the things that we talk about are true, and it's real, and it happens. So Matt and Molly, they're over
Hmm.
here, and I'm not going to say what your address is or anything, but I think you're over there in New Hampshire, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Right?
New Hampshire, yep.
The free
Okay.
I,
And they have a homestead. They have, like, they got a lot of property. I think they got about 47 acres. And what's your YouTube channel? I know there's a channel, a YouTube channel that Matt and Molly get together and they walk you through, because I posted it on Anonymous Addiction, I think last week, about a tour they do of the homestead, which is really cool. All the gardens, all the
yeah,
properties, a lot of work.
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about this homesteading thing that you two are into now.
Well, it's kind of like halfway homesteading. Basically an attempt at balancing life a little bit. Like this modern world's kind of crazy, and we've gotten away from so many of the more wholesome aspects of life, and it's just kind of, reacquainting ourselves with, that kind of balance, like living, a little bit more in touch with like gardening and, doing things ourselves, growing some food and, living with the land a little bit, living in nature. It's nice and quiet here. The air's clean. There's no light pollution, no sound pollution. It's very peaceful, and it's been really nice on our journey of kind of recovering from lots of different things in life and the
Healing.
chaos of life. And
Actually,
so, yeah, I mean, we live in the modern world. We're not like off grid, we balance the modern world and modern life with, some of the old things, the older ways of doing things, which, it's a nice balance, and it brings us a lot of, happiness and peace and joy and
Healing.
healing and,
let me ask you this then. Then what I get a sense of, okay, you've been away from programs like the 12-step programs and different types of 12-step programs for years.
Mm.
So what I sense is, like, you two and myself and so many others are finding out that we create our own programming, we create our own destiny, we create our own peace, and That's what you two are doing. And like today, I don't really have to, I don't get triggered about drinking and drugging. Because I'm trying the best to live a holistic, healthy, mindful, mental health lifestyle. And I think that's what you two are doing.
Absolutely.
When you share that experience.
Most definitely.
Let's get back to when did you first come in, or what was it like the childhood when you start first creating a habit?
I mean, like high school and stuff, smoking weed and like drinking. I think everybody does that, or a lot of people do. But I mean, childhood was my household was a little crazy and a little dysfunctional. But yeah, I mean, I ended up in the program like in my early 20s from like an opiate addiction, I would say. Definitely. And then I ended up in NA, but was told to go to AA because that's like the Cadillac of the 12-step program, and to just say I'm an alcoholic. So that's what I did. And I just got sucked in hardcore to the program, in a nutshell. But like Matt and I we actually met drunk at a bar like 22 years ago.
Good for you.
It was fun. Yeah. We had a good time. Like, it wasn't like,
we had a lot of fun, partying and playing and just being young.
And then like it kind of switched to opiates for a little while, and I didn't really drink much. It was more that, and that was my issue.
It was around the time when like oxys came out, and doctors were just prescribing them left and right, and there was just an insane abundance of them. And we didn't really know. We were young, and I just had no idea messing around with them that you would you get a dependency like no other thing in this world. And it's it's a really tough thing to kick, and it can really grab hold of people, as is obvious in the world today. It's well known,
and as we are all witnesses that we all kicked it. Okay, that's the message, that there are millions and millions and millions of people. So it's if you don't think it's possible, it's definitely possible, because we're all doing, millions of us are doing it. Okay. So something has to be, we have something, all of us have something in common. And I kind of found this link that we all have in common is that it's us. We create what we desire. So we have a desire to get clean and sober. We want it. We achieve it, and that's what all of us have done, through certain different methods, modalities, different types of ways, but we all came to the same conclusion that for us, alcohol and drugs weren't for us, and we didn't really need it in our lives anymore. Matt, when did you get introduced to a 12-step program?
So not sure. It might have been around like 25 or 26. I got out of high school, and I had a bunch of things happen right around that time, right around like 18 years old. My father passed away, and I had a kid very young too, and there was a whole bunch of things that happened that I just was not ready for, and just not equipped to deal with. And so I ran from it for a while, and I met Molly, and we were party buddies, for quite a while, and we had a great time together. And and then we led into the opiates. We started messing around with the opiates, and once you catch a habit, you catch a habit. So that's where our story kind of splits. Molly went into the program, and I just kept running amok in my life, because I had no idea. I just had a physical habit, and just ran with it. I had no interest in the program at all. So I ended up getting in trouble, and ended up in the court system, and catching little jail stints, and probation violations, and it ended up leading to a much longer jail stint. But before that, I was on probation for a while, and that's when I was introduced to the program. So I was in a sober house for a while, and you know,
Now,
they had us
were
going.
you mandated there? Did they make you go there?
In a way, yeah. They made me go to the programs, yeah, but I really didn't have anywhere else to go, so I ended up in a sober house, and you know, for about 6 months. And so yeah, I was in and out of the program like that. I was in and out of the court systems. I was in and out of the jail system, and you know, it's interesting. It's all kind of related. The revolving door of it all, of rehab, you know, jail, probation, program. And you know, I got to see, my experience is bigger than just the program. I see the subconscious programming, you know, is everywhere in our lives, and it's, you know, it's much bigger than just the 12-step program, even though that's what we're talking about here.
So
So
you had a switch. There had to be a switch where you just was like this, you know, you were doing, before we were talking yesterday, you were doing some readings, different types of readings. You read different types of books. You started listening to different types of motivational speakers. Did that
right.
really like give you like a
So yeah,
psyche awareness?
at the very end, I caught it. At the very end, I caught a 2-year jail sentence, and so while I was serving that sentence, I ended up getting into some. Actually, Molly sent me a book by Eckhart Tolle,
The
A New
power.
Earth, I think it is. And yeah, it spoke to me. This book spoke to me. He was talking about the flowering of human consciousness, and you know, it's not The Power of Now. It was a different book he wrote about,
Yeah, the New Earth,
you know, the
probably. Yeah.
rising of humanity's consciousness.
Right.
And
Okay, let me stop you right there. Wait.
Yep.
Okay, I want to tie this in here. So Molly, where were you at the time that you sent the book to Matt? Were you like transitioning out of the
I
program?
was like, so I was hardcore. Like, okay, so I had this one sponsor who was, I'm not kidding you, abusive. And she was rough. And she would tell me, like, granted, I gave that power away, but I was in a vulnerable state. And for many years, she would always say, like, the nastiest things about Matt, and to like never talk to him, to never let him in the house, and to like, it was like they had like a chokehold on me in my relationship with him. And I was hardcore in the program. However, at one point, after like the torture with this lady, I found another sponsor who was like, honestly, like she was like the coolest one in there. That was like, she taught, told me about Eckhart Tolle, and she was like really supportive of my relationship with Matt, and like she was normal, like she was, you know. And so I slowly started going to one meeting a week. Now I was going to 3 meetings every single day, commitments at night. My entire life was, if you don't do this, you're gonna die. Like, you have a disease, like you're, you know, if I drink, I'm gonna die. Like, now this was so much more of that program was like instilled, and I was scared to death, right? Like I was like just believing it. And my whole world was AA. And like I remember my mom biting her tongue because she hated my sponsor, the one that would tell me what to do and like when to brush my teeth, and I would obey. It was like crazy. But anyway, so I got this like new sponsor, and then I just started slowly only going to like women's meetings, and then I started going like once a week. So it was like a slow, and then when he got out, like everything changed. He was a different person, and like he kind of like the relationship, like he's a miracle, this one. But I just remember coming home from those Saturday morning meetings crying, and I couldn't understand why I was crying. And you were like, it's not resonating with you anymore, like the energy in there, you know? And that's when I made a conscious decision on like my 4-year anniversary. Like, I don't know, I had many anniversaries, to get a drink and go in my backyard and drink it to see if I would die, because that's what I believed. You remember that? And so I went out, I happened. I didn't even like it. I didn't even want it.
You're
Like,
not an alcoholic.
I never was an alcoholic. Yes, did I get trashed when I was younger? Yes, I was trying to avoid pain and self-soothe, which I think that's another conversation with dealing with childhood trauma, or, you know, just the society that we live in. We all have some sort of trauma going on, you know, unhealed things. So I don't want to go on a tangent,
Well,
but
more than that too, like I think there's just something missing. Like our whole entire culture is empty. Like I think there's a human longing for something deeper, something more profound, something more meaningful. And you know, it manifests in a lot of ways, like people trying to escape, people looking for things in all the wrong places.
Let me
You
tie,
know,
let
I
me
think it's
tie this. Let me tie
more
this.
than just like, oh, we all had traumatic childhoods. Like our culture is empty. It's empty. You know, everywhere we look.
I think we're breaking up. The internet is kind of breaking up a little bit. Let me tie it. I
You're
want to tie. Yeah, I want to tie this in again, because you met a person the second you call her a sponsor, but it's a friend. You met this friend, and then this friend happened to go outside of the triangle. Okay. She actually was outside of AA. She checked other things out. She checked other alternative methods. She was checking out, I'm sure if she checked out Eckhart Tolle, she was checking out other people. Okay. So she introduced you to
Yeah,
this.
she was a different kind of a thing. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
she just went
but
outside
she's
the
still
triangle.
heavily programmed.
Yeah, I know. Okay, but she was. But here's the thing:
Yeah.
is she
Well,
got you. She got
It's an
you.
aberration for the program.
She got you to move. Okay, so when you moved, she introduced you to something which was like a awakening to you, and you passed that on to Matt. And even though Matt was in when he was in prison, he was listening to some Anthony Robbins, some motivational stuff. He was
Well, that book sent me on a yeah. That
Right.
book sent me on a journey that my life would be the same. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
So Matt,
But let me one
ahead.
key.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I was I was like a big book thumper, right? And I did the steps very seriously. But it never led me to a spiritual awakening, and my soul wanted that. Like I wanted more. Like it just wasn't. And so that's where like the Eckhart Tolle came in, and you know, and there is more. You know, there's so much more. Like I don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, you do know. So it was, this is what I believe. They say after the 12 step, you have the spiritual awakening. I had many spiritual awakenings prior to coming into Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay. And I know that you had a spiritual awakening at that moment. Okay. So you had one at that moment. It wasn't due to the 12 steps. It was due to something else that was, that was a catalyst to your awakening, or your subconscious coming into your consciousness. So we're having spiritual awakenings, and we're going to have many more. And so it's a myth that we get them from Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay, the 12 steps. Some people do, but some people get it because
honestly,
it's the original goal, but that's gone.
Yeah. So Matt,
you're breaking up.
So Matt, you came
pretty bad.
Yeah, you came in. You tell me when I'm breaking up, though. You came together. So Molly was still with you when you were in prison, because one sponsor said, so you came out of prison, and what happened then?
Well, I did a lot of work in prison, which when I came out, I was a completely different person. And it's hard to we talked a lot during the time while I was in jail, and she could see that I was definitely changing or evolving, but it's hard to tell by phone like how much. And so I had just done so much work in jail. I had basically rebuilt myself. I had stripped everything that like I had just become unconsciously just through in my entire 20s. I didn't even have a hand on the steering wheel of my own life. So, what I had become, the things I had done, just, was all just willy-nilly, just happened. I was just blown around like a leaf. So I spent my last year in jail literally rebuilding like a new self. I literally researched qualities of the kind of man I wanted to be, the kind of husband I wanted to be, the kind of person I wanted to be. I would write the qualities down, write the definitions down, and then just try to begin acting them out and to begin embodying the qualities of the kind of person I wanted to be. And slowly over time, like I started to, I'd catch myself like an old program coming in, an old behavior, and I would stop it and I would think, how do I want to respond? And I began to respond rather than to react in my life in all situations. And so when I got out, like everything changed, I began to handle things in a much more conscious way. And that's really when my deprogramming started. Like I began to see the program, not just from the AA program, which I had to get most of that out of my system as well, but like right from childhood, right from what we adopt from our parents, what we adopt from school, what we adopt from religion, what we adopt from culture, what we adopt from, our belief systems, just everything. I had to strip it all down and slowly undo all of that garbage and start thinking and building my beliefs and building my views and my perspectives consciously. Like I started to think the way I wanted to think, not the way I just habitually thought. I started to feel the way I wanted to feel rather than how TV or another person or, whatever made me feel, and as I began to do this, like just everything changed, everything. We began to live very consciously. Like everything we have today was in a mind, like mapped out and mentally first, like many years ahead. And it's just a 100% conscious creation.
Yeah,
And
let's talk about that a little bit because
yeah.
you talk about law of attraction. I just want to let everybody know that we're probably going to title this something like "You are the creator and healer of your human experience." I'm going to change it
Yes.
from addiction
Yes.
because Matt touched. He said something earlier. He said it about 3 times. Escape. And that's what via the bottle or the drugs or the porn or the gambling
Yep.
or the government or the this or the that or the shopping or the more. It's all the same. And we create it, and we're the healers also of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we escape it via, I wanted to escape when I was using a lot. I wanted to escape for a few days. I would go out for a couple of days. I would just go out and not come back for a couple of days. And I had a family, just to escape the responsibility, just to escape the world,
Yeah.
life, the responsibility, the authority of this and doing that. And I can see young people, they want to escape.
And all that's pushed on top of us. And that's another thing, like, the way we live today, we don't have a mortgage. Like we did everything in a totally different way, like rather than the white picket fence, the 2 cars, the garage, the mortgage, like all of that responsibility, literally, like that's it too. Like I just rejected it. And like that was part of why I was always running away and running amok. Like I just, something inside of me rejected this prescribed friggin' reality that the world pushes on us.
I've been, Molly, tell us about how you attracted this into your life.
Who, Matt?
No, you.
Well, what are
with the house,
Well, I just wanted to, I forget what I was going to say about, when he got out of jail, I was already 30. I think you turned 31 or something. Yeah. And everything just changed after that when I left the program. Like I was heavily programmed.
Our life literally got better.
We were on food stamps. Okay. We owned a house. We did the white picket fence. Like we did that. We had a beautiful home that he renovated.
Mortgage to the tips.
Mortgage to like big mortgage. It was in foreclosure at one point. I was able to keep it because I turned it into a sober house, like had other renting out rooms. I did what I had to do, but like I was in church basements surrounded by black mentality, and I'm not putting these people down.
Powerless mentality too.
Yes, that's big because there wasn't any, like, there was nobody there that had anything that I wanted. Like I was starting to see this, and when he got out, everything changed. We like grew exponentially. Like, I mean, we went from food stamps to like no money in the bank, like nothing, to like
literally,
you know, I'm a real estate agent, and like, I mean, it's just been amazing.
Yeah, we were making good money. And then the idea came, like, instead of, you know, why don't we move somewhere where we can pick up land a little cheaper, and like
New
we can
Hampshire.
build a house out of pocket, and maybe we can, like, you know, we can rough it for a little while we do it. And
so, and our friends Michelle and DJ were over, and we were on our back deck, and we had a whiteboard, and they wanted to move too, right?
Because they were losing their house as well, and in the same position as us.
Exactly.
You know?
So the crazy story is, long story short, I was in bankruptcy because of the 20s, like in my house and everything. And that lasts for like 4 years, 7 years, I don't know. But I couldn't get a mortgage. Like we had no money, nothing.
No business looking for property.
No business looking for land at all. Like we had nothing. And I just kept looking for land, and we found this land in New Hampshire, and I made an offer, and I asked the owner if she would hold the mortgage and be the bank, and I'd pay her $500 a month with no interest. And she said yes. She didn't know us from a hole in the wall. She didn't ask for credit.
A 500 minimum while we paid it off.
And then after the 3 years, she was like, do you need more time? Like, she was amazing. But the coolest thing is too, there's a house across the street from us that was up for sale. And I was like, oh my God, Michelle and DJ. So I called, and it was under agreement. It was already sold. Anyway, like 2 weeks later, I get a call that buyer fell through. And I was, oh my God, Michelle and DJ bought that house. They're across the street from us. Everything cool. Like that we had written on that whiteboard.
And they underwent the same sort of thing we
both don't have mortgages. We're like free in that way. And like
they had a tough go of it too, like we did, but like also, you know, got on the journey of, you know,
well, you're living examples of you're living examples of creating your own destiny, and this is what this program's all about.
You're breaking up.
Okay. You're living examples of creating your own destiny.
Yes.
Here's the thing.
Yes.
We have about 6 minutes.
Oh my God.
That's how quick it goes. Okay. We're going to have you back on, definitely. So
yeah,
let's continue.
Talking about creating your own reality. Like, here's the thing too, like, if you aren't your own creator of your own destiny, someone else will be. And it's either the government or, you know, the friggin' advertisers, or someone out there is creating your reality and, you know, directing your life. So like, if you're not the one doing it, someone else is. And, you know, it's such an important thing. If you want to live a good life and you want to do what you want to do, like, people really, like, we really got to be in charge of our, you know, where we go and where we end up, and, you know, creating. And, you know, it's like we all live in kind of the same reality, but we can create our own experience of reality. And that's really, I think, a better description. You know, you don't really create reality, but you create your own experience of it.
But that comes down to the deprogramming, reprogramming, like reprogramming all that subconscious crap that we've taken on, you know, putting in new software, you know, to create.
So important.
Yeah, we're rewiring our what did they say? Plasticity of the brain. You know, it's rewiring. I mean, that's what we do. And that's not been taught to us. It's not been taught to us in schools.
No. But it's instilled in us every day. It's instilled in us through schools, through everything we see, everything we hear, everything we're involved in. You know, it's all around us all the time, and we're always picking it up unconsciously.
The negative things that we're powerless, we're limitless. you know, I just, you know, I was at the gym today. I'm just looking around thinking how programmed everything is. It's so monotonous. Like if you look
Yes.
at it, it's
So
like,
regimented, so
yeah, it's so
restricted.
rigid, and the authority controls everything.
Yeah.
You know,
And so
before we go off, I'm going to just ask everyone. We're gonna be seeing Matt and Molly again. We're going to have them back on, definitely, no questions asked. And don't forget to subscribe to Anonymous Addiction Deprogramming podcast. So continue, whatever you want to say, talk about.
So back to the AA thing. One of the things I found really, really interesting, but also screwed up about the program is like the identity addict. It's such a limiting identity. Like, and furthermore, we can never be something we experience. Like, you know, we're so much bigger. Our identity, who we are, is so much bigger than anything we would experience. So like, I've had the experience of being addicted, but like, I am not an addict. And I think that's a very important thing. When I say I am an addict, like it's very limiting. It makes us small, and that identity is a very small identity. And that's a real problem in the program, you know, and
admitting these words like, oh, I'm powerless.
right,
I'm
I'm
like
powerless,
over
I'm
and
an
over,
addict. Yeah.
over. That's neuro-linguistic programming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, did we die? You know, we haven't died. We left the program. We haven't died, and we haven't been committed to an insane asylum. And Matt, you haven't been back in prison. Okay.
No,
And
no,
so you
never
know,
will be.
Never will be.
Yeah,
we're just telling you they're myths.
Yeah,
They're
right.
myths.
Yeah.
it really is.
Programming.
Yeah, and just anyone out there who's saying that over and over again, like, or who has said it over and over again, just realize that you can never be something you experience. Experience is for learning. It's not something you are, you know, and it's so important, you know.
Yeah, but raising your hand and saying I am an alcoholic over and over,
Yeah.
thousands of times in repetition, reading the literature over and over, and constant programming, and
Yeah.
they know it, and they know it. It's a
Yeah.
cult.
Yeah.
It's a cult like process,
Yeah.
and it is a cult. Okay. We have
Yeah.
a few. Look, we
Yeah.
got three. We got about 4 minutes left. This is nice. We got 4 minutes left.
Flew by, yeah. Huh? We'll have to do it again.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
so the message is, let's leave the audience with a message. Mine is that we create our own destinies. Look, we create our own life, human experiences. Addiction. I really, those labels: addict, alcoholic, powerless, all these labels. Let them go. Let them go. That's not who we are.
And search out more empowering work. You know, there's nowadays you have the internet, like there's so much good stuff out there. And what I'm learning is to trust myself and to think for myself. You know, that was a big thing. I didn't think for myself. I couldn't, you know, but now I can.
And I think the cure for addiction, or the remedy for addiction, is making the unconscious conscious, making, you know, looking inside. Like it's really a journey inward, and a journey of self-awareness, and you know, becoming aware of all these programs and little things inside ourselves, things we run away from, things we shy away from, things we push down. And, you know, just, we got to lean into those things and discover the things that make us tick, you know. And if you discover enough of those things, you know, you begin to take your life into your own hands. And as we're talking about creating your own reality, that's how you do it, by, you know, by seeing all that you are and all that's inside of you, and discovering more of yourself. And you know, and it's also very rewarding, and it's a very enlightening and an interesting journey. And we're all here to learn about ourselves, like ultimately. And it's just a deeper part of life too that is often missing in this modern world.
Yeah, and it's crucial.
It's crucial. It
I
really is.
I like to say, look, we're uncovering, recovering, and discovering
Very well.
the truth about ourselves, society, the world, and the universe. It's a search.
Well said.
I'm living a a research and develop, you know, they talk about you have to be a corporation to have a research and development company. That's what we're doing. We're taking inventory. You know, they tell us not to have all these feelings. Don't take inventory. I take inventory. I have to discern what is truth and what is real today.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Now, when they say take a little bit of this and a little bit of that, that's exactly what I do. I'm not a fanatic today. I'm not a fanatic.
No,
I
mean,
take a loose and make
I
my
did go
own
through that too. We'll talk about that.
Yeah,
And the
fanaticism.
perfectionism, you know, of
We
self-help.
got 1 minute left, and I think we're going to be closing off. Let's say goodbye to everybody. Peace out.
Peace
Molly,
out. We'll see you
Matt,
next time.
thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
and we'll
Yeah.
see you. We'll see everybody next time. Take care and stay with us, Matt. We'll talk after the show. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay.
All right.